Hi, this is cool. An image inception. All right. So, for our chapter one in our node playground, so far we've discussed stuff till here. Recently, we just talked about initiating a chat between users, where I talked about creating a model for our chat room and how you can like initiate a chat between two users. I'll just walk you through how the API works and how the chat room is created. I'll use Postman for that, and then I'll show the data being added into our database. And all right, so this is my application. I'm in my chapter one of chat. In my server folder, I'm in my index.js file, and for the app.use/room route, I'm using this decode middleware that we talked about earlier. This is going to handle the authentication for us, and then we're using the chat room router, which is in a route/chat room. I'll go here, and inside this router, the API that we built is for uh, post slash initiate, and the controller for this is defined in chatroom.initiate, which is in controller slash chatroom. I'll go in controller slash chatroom, and this is the API that we've defined so far. Initially, first, what we're doing is we are validating our body. If everything passes, only then this part of the code is executed. Otherwise, it doesn't go below this. So what are we checking? I'm ensuring that the request.body that I'm getting from the user is has a user IDs array which is unique, not empty, and only has strings. And also, I'm checking the type key, which is of type enum, which means it can have a possible set of values. It can have one value from a possible set of values. So I'm getting this from my chat room types, which is defined in my chat room model. So these are the two values that the type can have. Either it can be consumer to consumer, or it can be consumer to support. The key can be whatever you want. I just named this for better development experience, but you can name this 0 1 ABC. These are the only two values that it will look at. And then if everything is okay, I get my user IDs and type from body, and my user ID from the authentication token. It's going to go through a decode middleware. I'm going to decode user ID, get user ID from the token, and then I'm going to alias user ID as chat initiator. And whatever the user ID the user is giving me as his IDs, I'm going to take those user IDs and print my own ID, because I want that chat room to have my presence as well, the person who's initiating that chat. I'm going to combine this in all user ID, and I'm going to send this into my initiate chat method, which has all user ID, type, and chat initiator. And if everything goes okay, success and the chat room, otherwise success and an error message with status 500. Let's see if this works or not. I'll go ahead and open my Postman. Initially, because I need to log in with the user, I will just go here, localhost colon 3000 slash users, use the get API, hit, oh, why, all right, let me see if my server was not working. Server.start, and you should see something like this. My app is listening on port 3000, and it's saying Mongo has connected successfully. And also the node version that I'm using is 12.18.0. All right, I'll go and hit this API again. I'm getting three sets of users. One is support and two are users. I'll just go here. I'll click this ID, and I'm going to go and in my login API, which is again of post localhost colon 3000 slash login slash user ID, I'm going to press this and hit send. It decoded, went and gave me an authorization token. Next, I'm going to go in my initiate a route, which is localhost colon 3000 slash room slash initiate. It's a post type. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass in my token here. I'll make sure that this is the right token. I'll come in my body, and I'll go back into my user section, and I'll see I want to initiate a chat with Pikachu from support, and the type is consumer to support. And just in case, I'll just do this, You know what? I'll do this. What does it say? Alright, it says please provide an array. I'll provide an array. Okay. And it says possible values are consumer to consumer, consumer to support. Alright, so I know this. I provide an array. Alright, it's saying that array cannot be empty. Alright, I'll add the ID for Pikachu and I'll hit send. Alright, it went up ahead and it says that this chat room is not new because I already created that in the past, and it just returned me that chat room. So I'll open my Robo 3T GUI for database. I'll come in my chat DB for chat rooms collection. I'll see I have two chat rooms. One is consumer to consumer, the other is consumer to support. This was the one that it retrieved. I'll just go and delete this because this doesn't have any messages. uh, and I just have one chat. Now I'll go and hit this API again. Let's see what this is. It says okay, it's a new chat room. This is the ID and the type is consumer to support. I'll hit this API again and it says no. So this chat room is not new. So I'm going to return you a pre-existing chat room. Uh, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So we validated our response. By the way, I wrote this library, so if you guys have any feedback, just reach me out, and I'll try to improve this as well. Next, I have this piece of code. I take the user IDs and the type, and then from my own token, I take my own ID, the person ID who's logged in. I combine this into one user's ID array. I take the user ID, type, and chat initiator. Type is an enum which can only be of these two types, so user has no chance of sending me the wrong type. And then I just simply check in my database that I want to see that the user ID I'm sending in. So first of all, I only want records which has the same length. So for example, I'm sending two user IDs in my array. I want to compare in my database to get all the records where user IDs have two items. That's the first check. That this is what size does. All does is I need to make sure that all of the items that I'm mentioning in this user ID is present in there. So the size is same and it has the same contents. The order doesn't matter. And this has the same content, right? Sorry, the second chat room has the same content. 9.8 is my ID and 7.8 is Pikachu's ID. And next I'm checking the type. The type needs to be same as well. So consumer to support. And based on this, if I find a check, I'll return the available chat room. Otherwise, I'll just go and create a new chat room with user IDs, type, and chat initiator, and it's just going to create a new chat room for me, which I'm going to return to the user. And yes, that's pretty much it. I don't need to pass in the timestamps because Mongo does it automatically. I don't need to pass in the ID because I have a default ID here. And I'm using the UUID4 method. It generates a random string with dashes in it. So I use this replace method to replace the dashes with empty strings. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And you have yourselves a working chat initialization API. Next up, we're going to discuss how we can create a new message in our chat room based on the room ID that we've just created. All right.